Hello everybody, dear students and teaching fraternity who have been teaching for the 10th standard CBSE students. And I am Yogeesh Sahyadri, lecturer in English from Chitradurga, Karnataka state. Today I am so happy to come before you with a first lesson of CBSE standard 10th. Actually, you know very well that this is a letter to God. A letter to God is the first lesson for 10th standard students, written by G.L. Fentes. G.L. Fentes. I would like to introduce you all the first flight, the title of the 10th standard book, First Flight. Dear students, a letter to God is an interesting and an impressive story which is prescribed for the 10th standard students. I am so happy to teach this one for you because this story, 100% it creates a kind of new hope, okay, because this story deals with the faith of a common man towards the God. The story begins like this. They say faith can move mountains. What a wonderful line, my dear students. You can see here, if you have the book, please all of you keep a book in your hand, the 10th standard book. They say faith can move mountains. But what should we put our faith in? This is the question this story delicately poses. Here, there is a protagonist of the story, Lencho. Please remember this name, Lencho. Lencho is the protagonist of the story or the hero of the story, who is a farmer. But unfortunately, in the story, Lencho actually is waiting for rain for his crops, as he is the farmer, and everybody usually, in the whole world, in all the countries, the farmers usually do. They always wait for rain, the farmers. It's because that is the food for them. If it rains, the crops come well. If they get good crop, they get some good income. If they get some good income, they purchase some things, whatever they want to their house to lead their life. That's why. So Lencho is eagerly waiting for rain, and it rains also, but unfortunately that rain is very, very torrential, and even there along with the rain they also see the ice pearls, or you can call the frozen pearls. And when the frozen pearls fall on his crop, corn crop, because of the torrential rain, because of that heavy rain, the complete his crop will be destroyed. His crop will be destroyed completely, and he feels very, very sad for that. And then who helps for him? The only faith, the only way, the only hope, the sole hope, he thinks in his mind, that is the God. The God. Then what does he do? How does the God help Lencho? You believe it or not, Lencho thinks of writing a letter to the God to help him. So there actually this story seems very, very interesting and a curious one, and very beautiful in fact, because that's why I told you in the beginning that this story, a letter to God, implies and it creates a kind of hope and a great faith, the value of faith in us, because he thinks of writing a letter to the God. And now the question is, what happened to his crop and why he thinks of writing a letter to the God? Does God really help Lencho? And who comes in the form of God to help him. So, what happens and what is the conclusion of this story? And before that, there is an activity for students given in the textbook. Please go through that, dear students. This activity is, how to send money to somebody, to your friend or to your relative or to to the needy, okay, through money order, through post office. So, the motto of this activity is, you have the students of 21st century who are using the mobiles, who are sending the money through digital media, for example through apps, bank apps, and all, and Google Pay and Phone Pay. There are many modes of transferring the amount from one account to another account, from one person to another person. So, there are different modes, but the students of 21st century are not aware of the post office still. But because of that reason, to know the methods, to know some good procedures of the money order and all, so this activity is given. Please go with that and complete that. Now, let us begin the story directly. I read out, please listen, keep your book in your hand. The story goes like this: A Letter to God by Fentos. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Oh, now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, Yes, God willing. The older boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house, until the woman called to them all, Come for dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, Oh, these are not the raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers, draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly, fortunately. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, the garden, on the hillside, on the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. Not a leaf, a single leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, A plague of locusts would have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. Look at this, my dears. Please notice this line. These 3 lines are very, very important for the readers, for us. That night was a sorrowful one. Underline the night. All our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us right now. We will all go hungry this year. So these are the words said by Lencho. Once his crop was destroyed. The writer says that the house, it was the only one house, the single house which was constructed on the crest of the valley, on the crest of the mountain. Crest means the top of a hill. A very beautiful imagination the writer has, Fentus, G.L. Fentus. It was the only house, the house, look at this, the house, the article the is used, the definite article, please note this here, the only one house, the only one in the entire valley. In the entire valley, it was the only house which belonged to Lencho, the protagonist or the hero of the story, and sat on the crest of a low hill. That house was constructed on the crest, on the top of the hill, of a low hill almost. From this height one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. Wow, Lencho and his family members could easily see, from the top of his, the hill, from his house, everybody, all those people could see, the farmers, the surrounding of the valley, the surrounding of the house. So what all they could see from the height of their house? They could see the river from that height. They could see the field of ripe corn they grew, and that was dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. Yes, Lencho was very happy. Lencho and his family members, his wife, the woman, the reference of woman, his wife and his children, the older boys, and the younger ones, they were all very satisfied. They were all content by thinking that yes, this year or that year they would get very good harvest, because the crop, the ripe corn crop, it had many flowers, and that was the symbol. Yes, the only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. So the only thing was, actually the crop came up well, and it had the corn crop, ripe corn crop had, it was filled with flowers, the whole area, the field. So it had many flowers, and the only thing was the field, the ripe corn crop was badly in need of a shower, at least a good rain. So he was really content. He was so happy for that. And throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. What was Lencho doing? Lencho, because he knew very well, he knew the field intimately. He cultivated the land. He grew that crop, so he knew each and everything of that. And being the farmer, he could do nothing else, but he was just looking at the sky and watching and waiting for the rain to fall. Because if a single rain would fall, definitely his crop would come up well, and he would get some good income. So yes, the time was going on like that for Lencho. Lencho, instead of spending his time at home or inside the home, he was coming out always and looking at the crop, and he was looking at the sky for rain. He was expecting rain, and he said, anyway, because he guessed, because usually all farmers in the villages, they guess the raining, whether it rains or not, they guess. So that sense they have, because it comes for them by their experience. He said to his wife, now we are really going to get some water, woman. He said to his wife, we are really going to get some rain, because he saw the clouds, he observed the weather, and he could guess, he could feel it. Yes, the woman replied that, yes, the God willing. If the God is willing to do that, if he is willing to give us some rain, because he knows what we require, what we need, so definitely we can get if God gives. It depends upon the God to give rain or not. Yes. So this is the usual expectation of the villagers, usual expectation of the farmers. The older boys, anyway, the woman who was preparing supper, underline please, supper is the night meals. Supper is the night meals. And she was preparing meals and replied to him that yes, if God is willing, definitely we get some water, we get some rain for the field. The older boys were working in the field. See, still it was almost the evening. The workers, the old boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all. They were all playing because they were all small kids and it was the evening, it was their time of playing. So they were all playing because it was a very good weather, almost the rain was about to fall. So they were all playing there until the woman called them to all for supper. And come for dinner. It was during the meal that just as, so underline dinner, can be had even in the night also. So night dinner, and just Lencho had predicted big drops of rain began to fall. The woman, Lencho's wife, called the boys for dinner, and by that time, as Lencho expected, the rain, yes, as he predicted rain, the big drops of rain began to fall. What a beautiful thing. Yes, the story creates some kind of curiosity among us. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Yes, he could see that. Many more clouds. The huge cloud. Look at this. Please observe. Huge mountains of clouds. Huge mountains of clouds. Look at the metaphor. It's a metaphor. Please underline that. The clouds were looking like, the clouds seemed as the mountains, the big mountains. So such bigger clouds were about to come and they were approaching near to the valley. The air was fresh and sweet. So this is also a symbol, a signal or a symbol that it would rain. So the air was fresh really and it was sweet. So Lencho was so happy. In fact, his wife, the woman, and his older boys, younger ones, all were very happy because it would rain. There was a signal for them. The man went out for no other reason than to have pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. Lencho could not tolerate that. Lencho could not control himself. No, he went out. He went out to the he went outside the house to feel the raining, to feel the the pleasure of feeling of rain on his body. That's why he went out for no other reason. Just the reason was to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. By this you can understand, my dear students, how much rain was required, necessity for Lencho, for to protect his crop from destroying. Yes, and when he returned, he exclaimed, oh my God, he was so happy, he was excited. Oh, these are not raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5s, because look at the imagination. Look at the imagination of Lencho. Lencho says, there were many big drops of rains and small drops of rains. Lencho imagined in his mind that the big drops seemed, look at the metaphors. The writer Fentos give us the idea. How beautifully he uses the metaphors. The big raindrops seemed as the 10-cent pieces. Underline please, 10-cent pieces. A cent is one of hundredth. 1/100th. So almost you can think of paise, one paise out of 1 rupee. Okay. So 10-cent pieces, 10 paisas. If you compare cent into paisa, you can think that you can convert that 10 paisas, 10 cent, or out of 100 you can, if you think 100 as 100%, you can convert 10 cent becomes 10 rupees. So the big drops of rain seemed as 10-cent pieces and the little ones seemed as 5-cent pieces. He was so happy, and with that satisfied expression, he was so happy with the satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. So draped means covered with a curtain of rain. So rain started falling down and there were many big drops of rain, smaller drops of rain, and he was so happy, and almost all were enjoying that moment. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. Oh, this seems little bad, really. So the writer brings, the writer joins, the writer adds the sad moment, to come in future. The writer says Lencho was so happy, his family members were so happy, he started feeling the pleasure of raindrops, but suddenly a strong wind began to blow. So there was a sensing of wind blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones. Hailstones, underline, my dears. Hailstones means the frozen pearls. Okay, so that began to fall, and these truly did resemble new silver coins. And he thought that, okay, it was good, because frozen pearls are falling down. That means it would be enough rain. It would be a good rain. But the boys actually exposing. Look at the metaphor one more. Resemble new silver coins. The drops of rain, the hailstones actually were looking like the new silver coins. They were in brightness, they were glowing actually. So he was so happy. And the boys, usually all the kids do the same when the frozen pearls fall down from the sky. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Underline ran out. Ran out is a phrasal verb. Ran out is a phrasal verb. Please underline this. And they went out, by exposing themselves to the rain. What for? To collect. The boys went out to collect the frozen pearls, the hailstones. So such thing was going on, and but Lencho felt unhappy. Lencho felt unhappy because the wind would take away the clouds to the other place, he thought. Look at this, what happens. It's really getting bad now, he thought. Lencho said, it's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. Oh, this rain would pass quickly, because there was wind, heavy wind, that would take the mountains like clouds to the other place. That's why he felt somewhere he felt bad about that, and fortunately it did not pass quickly, even though there was heavy wind, because the clouds were mountains like. Because the clouds were mountain-like, very huge mountains-like clouds. No, because of that reason, because of the size of the clouds could not move suddenly and easily, and because of that, anyway, they had good rain. He thought like that. For an hour, the hail rained on the house. For an hour, underline, for an hour, the hail rained. The hail, it was a torrential rain. Later it becomes a torrential rain, and it rained on the house also, on the garden, on the hillside, on the cornfield also. It was his food actually, on the whole valley. On the whole valley, it was a torrential rain, a heavy rain with frozen pearls. But there was no chance for Lencho to be happy, because the field was looking white, it as if covered with salt. The field was white as if covered with salt. Please underline this. The whole valley, including his field of corn, it was all filled with whiteness, white salt. It was looking like white salt. Oh my God! Not a leaf remained on the trees. Not a single leaf remained on the trees. Then what about the corn? The corn was totally destroyed because of the frozen pearls, because of the hailstones. Underline this. Because of the hailstones, fell from the sky. The whole corn, his field of corn, was destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Actually, before the rain, the corn crop had filled with flowers. He had a great hope that year he would get very good income. He was actually waiting for the rain, but unfortunately all flowers were gone from the plants, fell off. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness, because actually he was waiting for rain, but the same rain had destroyed. It rained, but the same rain had destroyed his complete crop. When the storm had passed, immediately he stood in the middle of the field. He rushed to the field to see the condition. Anyway, he had guessed already before going to that field. Said to his sons, by standing in the middle of the field, by standing there, he told his sons, a plague of locusts would have left more than this. the hail has left nothing. One more metaphor the writer G.L. Fentos beautifully used here. Underline this, a plague of locusts. Underline, a plague of locusts. Plague is a disease, the name of a disease. The plague of locusts. Locusts means, the insects which fly in big swarms. The insects which fly in big swarms. Swarms means groups. And what they do? They destroy the crops completely. Even if there were even if there were the locusts, the insects had come and they had destroyed, at least they would have left something more than this. But now what happened? This rain, the hailstones had left nothing. This year we will have no corn, he says. Lencho decides that this year we are not going to get any food. We are finished. Our life is gone. He comes to a conclusion and says to his sons that night was a sorrowful one actually. He says that all our work for nothing. My dear children, whatever we had done, whatever the effort we had put to grow this crop, how much time we spent, how much care we had taken to take care of this crop, to grow this crop till today, everything has been smashed out. All our work for nothing. You can't imagine, my dear students, how much effort the farmers put to grow each time the crops, each season the crops. Really, because it's their food, it is their life. So all our work for nothing. There is no one who can help us at this time, because it's a natural disaster, natural calamity. Who can help? Whom to go and ask? Wow, who can do anything? Who can do anything? Who can do what? So there is no one who can help us. He feels disappointed. He feels nothing is left to him. We will all go hungry this year. Very sad lines. We should feel this. This is the thing actually going on. This is the real situation of the farmers. We will all go hungry this year. So by saying this, Lencho feels very bad and feels disappointed, and almost he is finished, he feels. So let us see what happens. And totally, anyway, that night was a sorrowful one. So now you came to know that how that night became the sorrowful one, the ugliest moment for him, for Lencho and his family members. How Lencho had lost his crop, and how he felt disappointed and everything. Anyway, thank you so much, my dears. This is the part 1 of the story, A Letter to God. To watch the part 2 explanation and the part 3 explanation, the complete lesson you can understand by watching the next videos. Please log into the channel Yogeesh Sahyadri. I repeat, Yogeesh, Yogeesh, Sahyadri, Yogeesh Sahyadri. You can browse this name even in the Google also. You can find my videos, and please log into our channel. Please subscribe and give a like if you like the explanation of this story and lesson, and please share to your friends and your near and dear ones who are all studying CBSE 10th standard. Thank you so much, all of you. Have a nice day. Love you all. Have a nice day. Please don't forget to subscribe and to share and to pass this to everybody, and to watch the part 2 video and part 3 video explanation. Don't forget. Thank you so much. Love you all.